Some Leftists in Finland here. Welcome to yet another edition of the UTF Archive Dive. I turned 33 yesterday, the big 3-3, and I wanted to find some older videos that I did for other birthdays. I think I did one when I was 25. I did one when I turned 30. I think this is the only one that I could find. And what I found while I was rewatching this video, because I didn't really remember what I said in this video, is that I had a lot of good things to say, especially to 33-year-old me. Coming from 21-year-old me seems wild and out there, but if you're expecting this particular archive dive to be a cringe fest where I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe... Oh. This is not going to be that. This is going to be maybe a little bit more introspective. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying that I had a lot of sage wisdom that was revolutionary or anything, but to see that 21-year-old me and 33-year-old me are in similar situations and similarly, kind of, we don't know, it's interesting. And I hope you find it interesting too. And if not, well, that's life. Here we go.
I'm partly hammered. I have work in T-minus 7 hours, so what am I doing right now in lieu of sleeping? I'm turning on the camera. And I really have no idea what to talk about. So why don't we ask my good buddy Guinness. Good bunny. Oh no. My good buddy Guinness here with a side of Heineken, which I ran out of, so I had to go and buy this. Why don't we ask him what the video is about? Well, I don't know, John. What do you want to talk about? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay. Before we move further, this was a point in my life where I was as close as I've ever been to alcohol abuse. I drank a little bit before I turned 21, which, if anyone's confused in Europe watching this, drinking age is 21 in the United States. But I had a lot of really, really lonely moments in that particular household. I was alone quite a lot. I had this channel. The channel was always growing, or at least at this time it was Undertaker Freak 1127, and the channel every single day was growing and growing and growing. And I did all these live streams, and I would drink during those. So I wasn't completely lonely, but once the live stream went off the air, and once I, turned all of my social media off for the day, the thing that I would usually do when I found myself alone, I would open up Team Fortress 2 and just, and it almost got out of hand. And I'm very, very lucky that that particular gene seems to have just passed me over. I'm very fortunate, and I don't take it for granted because I was living in Frat Village by Western Michigan University, and I had seen so much horrible, piss-poor behavior from, frat boys and just college students in general, acting really stupid while drunk. I had a dog that I walked 4 or 5 times a day, and during the daytime it was okay, but once nightfall came, especially during the weekends, oh my god, it was insufferable, absolutely insufferable. So living here for a year and a half next to Western Michigan University really gave me a different perspective on what I was doing to myself, knowing full well that I probably would never be like any of these people, but also I would just wake up feeling so miserable, and when you're at that point, you can do one of two things. You can either drink more to get that eye opener going, so, you can drink away the effects of the alcohol, or you can come to terms with the fact that this is how it's always going to be when you drink, and you're just going to have to drink more and more to get these shitty feelings to go away, so maybe I'll just not drink. And that's what I chose, and I'm very happy for that. But in this video, I am absolutely 100% piss drunk.
Why else would I ask you? You think I'm just asking you for theatrics? Am I talking to a fucking beer bottle? Yes, I am. Hello, boys and girls. Undertaker Freak 1127 here. And what he said was partly true. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. So why don't we ask House? Hey, House, what are we going to talk about? You're an idiot.
Still my favorite
Stands to
show of all
reason.
time.
I turned 21. Coming up on my first week, the end of the first week of being 21, I did a lot of thinking coming up to this day, Oh, look at this. My new laptop. Look at the glowing of those keys. Isn't that just so spectacular? What could
Oh,
be better than that? I mean, other than the 12 gigs of RAM and the THX sound. Anyway,
there's a story here. There's a story here. Okay. The Archfiend at the time, who was one of my best friends ever on YouTube, if not my best friend on YouTube ever. Uh, he got an Alienware laptop, and he would mockingly sort of like show everybody and brag about it. He wasn't really bragging about it. He was just trying to piss people off. Um, so I found myself with a laptop that had glowing keys. This was the first time I'd ever had a laptop that did that, or any sort of keyboard or peripheral that did that. So that's what that was about. That laptop, whew, gave me a good solid 10 years. I still have it. It's not broken. It's just I can't access it because I can't find the charger. Maybe one day I'll yank out the hard drive and put it in an external hard drive reader and see which videos are saved on there. Because I don't think I deleted a whole lot of stuff. So there could be like hundreds of my old videos still on there for future dives.
um,
Who
you
knows?
know, I did a lot of thinking before my 21st birthday. What would change? It's a huge deal. A lot of kids cannot wait to reach that age. 21, I can't wait to be 21. Why? Because you can legally drink. You no longer have to surreptitiously sneak these bottles out of coolers at parties and put them in your pocket and hope that a cop is not there, hope that there's not a stool pigeon there that will rat you out and get you an MIP. You no longer have to worry about
Did I just use the term stool pigeon? Stool pigeon? Was this a fucking 1950s? Jesus. Oh my. But what I'm talking about there, I, I knew kids as young as 14 who were already regularly drinking. I've heard from people here in Finland that they technically started drinking when they were 9 or 10, and that's not like I don't know if that's a widespread thing, but regularly I really really doubt it. But I have heard such stories. So this whole mystique around turning 21, maybe I was being a little bit too. Maybe I was trying to set the story up a bit too much because I don't remember hearing a whole lot of my contemporaries in school or my classmates saying that, oh boy, 21, I can't wait, because they were already drinking. They were already drinking, and so was I sometimes at 16, 17, you know. So 21, it just means that you no longer have to go through the hassle of finding it somewhere else. You could proudly show your ID to the person behind the counter. And even then, sometimes, man, shit, there was this corner store up the road from my house, and they never checked for ID. It was. So sometimes it's like it wasn't even a struggle then.
MIP, minors in possession. You no longer have to worry about that kind of stuff, but that's really all I am seeing so far.
Really?
I just spit on that curtain.
That wasn't a curtain.
That's all
That's
I
a
see.
sleeping bag tacked to the wall.
16 came and went,
Gross.
drive a car. 18 came and went, legally smoke, legally vote, become an adult, join the military, all that good stuff, be in porn, which is what I'm still waiting for. They haven't called me back yet. 21, you can drink. And I've noticed something. There's a gap between driving and drinking. 5 years. The government says that at 16, you are of a legal age to drive, which means that your brain is developed enough to be able to handle the responsibility of operating and maintaining a vehicle. But the government thinks 21 is the age at which you can make responsible choices when it comes to alcohol.
Still to this day, that bothers me a little bit. I think the only reason that the drinking age in the U.S. is 21 is because of special interest groups like MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Um, oh my God, the brain is still developing until 20, which it's true. Your brain is still developing into your 20s. And we need to make it harder for them to get this. So let's make the drinking age 21.
There's a 5-year gap there. I think learning how to drive a car properly takes a little bit more mental seasoning and age than learning how to responsibly drink. That's just me. Has anybody else out there thought that? Post a little comment if you have.
Does it matter though? Does it really matter? Some of like if we're looking out for the brains of the youth, yeah, it matters. But if we're talking about maturity, come on. I've seen people well into their 50s and 60s do some of the most ridiculous, idiotic things while drunk, committing some of the most heinous crimes while drunk, well into their adult years. So, keeping the drinking age up at 21 with the brain in mind, okay, sure. But maturity should not be part of the argument because you just got to take a fucking look around you.
That just seems so asinine to me. Sorry, Ranting Ramsey, I took one of your words. You can have surreptitiously. We can make a nice little trade. I'll take asinine for a while.
Sorry again for the abrupt cut, but I know Ranting Ramsey, we're not on the best terms. We haven't been for a while. I know he's got his problems. I had my problems. I hope he's doing okay. I really hope he's doing better. We may never see politically eye to eye, and if none of you know who Ranting Ramsey is, I'm sure you can look it up. But really, dude, I do hope you're doing better.
By the way, Ranting Ramsey, go look him up. He's good. On YouTube, by the way. You know, what comes with 21? More responsibility? Well, it's of my belief that more responsibility comes with each age, you know? Because with each age, you know, you're one step closer to death, 1 year closer, which means your health is slowly but surely declining. I don't care if you're in the best health ever. I don't care if you have a perfect heart rate, a perfect blood pressure. You're one age closer to hair falling out, crow's feet coming in, wrinkles on your face, achy joints. And I know that sounds very
12 years later, I can confirm.
I know, but it's fun to think about because your responsibility is making sure your later years do not come with a lot of pain. With, as you know, unless you're a masochist, you want to have not a lot of pain. So you have to maintain your body, maintain your health. That may seem a little bit hypocritical coming from someone who's just down 1, 2, 3, yeah, however many bottles of Guinness I just downed, but trust me, I have a point.
Yeah, rings a little hollow.
This drunken rambling.
Yeah, I was so drunk.
But you know, I didn't fear 21. I didn't really fear what would happen. You know, it's another day to me. You know, it's a day. It's a cause for celebration. Yes, you should drink. Yes, sad to say, I fit the cliche. That'd be a good lyric. If any of you steal that, I'm going to hunt you down and copyright claim your ass. No, man.
I still will.
Yes, I did fit the cliche. I drank on my 21st. Not enough to get completely hammered. In fact, not as hammered as I am now, even though I was among friends. But, you know, rite of passage, I guess you would call it. But what changes? What changes other than the fact that I can legally purchase this shit?
And I do mean shit. Guinness is bad. Let's just, you know, I don't drink anymore. Probably never will. I gotta tell you something. All right, the very first drink I legally purchased at age 21 was at some pool hall down the road from where I lived with one of my very good friends. How you doing if you're watching? It was an Irish car bomb. It was, I don't even remember everything that went into it. Bailey's and some other stuff. And then you put a shot glass of Guinness in it. And then I had a Belfast car bomb, which I think was Kahlua instead of some other. I don't recall. But anyway, that was my introduction to Guinness. and I drank a lot of it because I was like, wow, this tastes so much different from this Budweiser, PBR, Coors, Labatt Blue, all this piss water, which that's what it was. All these pissy tasting pilsners. I thought that, but then I found some other stouts and other porters, and I went down a rabbit hole. I was at this craft beer store called Bacchus in Kalamazoo pretty regularly when I was, drinking quite a lot when I was in my early 20s. And I always had this kind of mentality that I don't want to drink to excess, so I'm willing to pay a little bit more for beer that actually has flavor and body and some flavor, some taste, than get wasted buying cheaply 24 packs of Bud and all this other just disgusting shit. Just people like what they like, and that's fine. Although I will say, Oarsman Ale from Bell's Brewery, still the worst beer I've ever had in my life. Oh,
What changes in life? I've passed all the benchmarks except for some of the more trivial ones, like some places you have to be 25 to be able to rent a car. Some things you have to be a certain age to do certain things, but I mean, hell, at 21 you can go to strip clubs, at 21 you can go to casinos. Some
oh
places it's
boy.
18, I get that, but past 21, what is there? Life, the progression of life.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty, horrible, awesome, great, fun, joyous, whatever you make of it, whatever you make of that life, that is what keeps happening. That is what it didn't take me very long to realize, because I thought that something special would happen, that all these doors and windows and all these awesome things would open up in my mind.
Why? Why did I think any of that? I'm trying to remember if I did really think that any of that would happen. Am I just being dramatic or something? Because I can't recall.
But it was just another birthday. I drank, but I've drank, on occasion, I drank before 21. So, I mean, nothing really changes. It's a big deal to people. The sweet 16 and the 18. Yeah, you go off to college, you graduate high school, not in that order, unless you're a brainiac, you know. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. But I do know this.
Hmm.
Another year older, another year wiser. It's another year that I do continue to live life to the fullest, to the best of my ability. Even though I'm stuck in a job that sometimes makes me miserable, but in the end, I know the money is worth it. Even though,
Is it?
I'm at a point in my life where I'm questioning a lot of things personally, I'm going to live it the best I can.
I was in a similar. I currently am in a similar situation to 21-year-old me, except for the stuck in a dead end job part. I had a lot more structure in my life at this point. Even if the job sucked, it was structure. It gave me a small modicum of hope that I could be a little bit more responsible for the outcome of my own, life and my choices and things like that. Um, this was before anxiety, by the way. I didn't start having really big problems with anxiety until my mid 20s, a couple of years after this. I never thought of myself as depressed. This is me at like my most, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say lucid because that makes it sound like I'm not very lucid right now. But I, it's just interesting to hear me talk about these things before I experienced a lot of the, um, frankly, the effects of that kind of life that I'm trying to talk about living to the fullest. That job that I had and the jobs I had after that probably did contribute a bit to, the stress and all that probably contributed a little bit to the anxiety that I would feel later on and that would plague me until I got help and started to examine some of the things that were making me the way that I was, a big ball of anxious fear and stress. And seeing the before and after is, I feel like I was a lot more hopeful. I feel like I had a lot more. I was more hopeful.
And, that's another thing. How do you live life to the fullest? Does that mean going out and going skydiving? Does that mean doing extreme things? Not to me. See, to me, living life to the fullest means living to the best of your ability to where you feel complacent, aside from work. Like right now. I think right now I'm living to the best of my ability. I'm doing something I love. I love making videos. I love making these fucking things, and I love the feedback that I get from these things.
Absolutely, I did. I
Be it
still
be it
do.
talking about YouTube horrors or politics or culture or psychology or meteorology or whatever I choose to talk about. I love doing this, you know? And I consider that part of living life to my fullest. If I stopped doing this, I don't know what I would do.
Exactly. That's why I quit doing it and I came back and then I quit doing it again and then I came back. 21-year-old me knew. It's just like RuneScape. You never quit RuneScape, you know? You never actually fully quit it. You go back to it at different periods of time in your life. That's what YouTube has been for me. And it was a huge part of my life. It really was. It was, like I said, this channel that I was on, Undertaker Freak, was growing every single day. And I had all sorts of feedback from all sorts of different angles. And um, it was really fun. I was even able to make a living doing it for a very brief window of time before AdSense went. But yeah, no matter how lonely I felt and no matter how bad things got, just like now, I found a lot of comfort in YouTube and my subscribers and all the extra stuff that I did, the live shows, even though I was drunk for a lot of them, the live shows and the uh, just like some of the camaraderie that I was able to build with some people that I still talk to and know to this day. My life would have been way emptier without it, for sure.
I mean, sure, the job is cutting into my time, sure, but I can always come back to this. It's not gone. You guys, the fans that enjoy my videos, unless I do something to really piss you off, you're never going away.
Oh,
Which
and I
means,
did.
conversely, I'm never going away.
I did.
Living life to the fullest means, maybe just taking a trip somewhere, going to see something. It doesn't have to be far away. Maybe it can be
Taking a trip
somewhere
somewhere
fun,
tomorrow.
an arcade, a bowling alley, maybe a landmark of some kind. Living life to the fullest means just finding ways to be complacent in the shittiest and most dire straits. Because if you do not find a way to take yourself out of those dire straits, you will be miserable. You will suffer. You will hate life. You will resent yourself and the others around you, and that will trickle down to the people around you. Easier said than done. I get it. Financial difficulties, personal difficulties, I've been through all of them. I can't say I've been through more. I'm not going to sit here be 21 and say, I've been through everything. I've seen it all. I've seen the worst. I mean, yeah, there have been struggles in my life.
Just cracking eggs of wisdom. This is just like I've said before. It's like 21-year-old me is speaking directly to 33-year-old me. Like, this is what you should be focusing on. Pay attention, older you. This living life to your fullest and finding contentment.
Can I write a book about them and become a motivational speaker and tell you how to live your life and how you can become better? No, no. Everyone encounters strife, but it's how we handle these things and how we overcome them. It's how we overcome these things. Then we're able to look back on them and say, wow, I have a problem now, but look how I handled this. I can get over them. Please.
If only I listened.
I can get over this.
If only I stuck
Trouble,
to that.
strife, pain, tenuous moments. They'll all come. But you also must not forget that good times will be in life as well. Whether you find those good times through a bottle, whether you find those good times through cigarettes, whether you find those good times through watching porn, whether or not you find those good times with sitting around and playing with your penis to German Scheisse porn while eating corn nuts. I do believe, other than entertainment, the true point of life is to be complacent. I find a difference between being complacent and being happy. Complete happiness.
By the way, I think what I meant to say instead of complacent, because that has a different connotation than what I was going for, I think maybe contentment, just finding contentment in your life versus complacency. Because complacency makes it sound like you've just kind of settled despite whether or not this thing that's happening is good or bad, or even if it is harming you. Being complacent is just like, well, I guess it's just the way it is. I'm not going to do anything about it. Being content is coming to this realization that, okay, here's that shitty thing. This is how it is. But look at all these other things I have, and I'm alive, and the sun is gonna, it's gonna shine tomorrow, or it's gonna come up tomorrow, and life is gonna go on. That needed to be said because I really don't think I was going for complacency. At least I don't
Sad
think.
to say, you may never find a point. Complete happiness is best defined to me as a point in your life where nothing is getting you down. Absolutely nothing. And you're happy. There's not a single frustration or discrepancy or a problem or issue in your life. But complacency, to me, is what's important. Because when you're complacent, you fully are cognizant and coherent. You know the fact that problems are going to come and you know how to handle them. And if you don't know how to handle them, you'll try and figure it out. But you can't get too frustrated, because if you get too frustrated with these problems, it will become much worse. And the snowball effect will start. Things will just keep piling on top of each other. That frustration will build till it turns into a full-blown anger. And words are said.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay. Where were you when I needed you? Like, I will say again, it is so interesting seeing the pre-anxiety, the pre-anxious me, which I guess had been hiding in there all along, but it just wasn't at the surface. And then experiencing life as the person who is dealing with anxiety, doing better than I have been, of course, with it. But where were you at so many points in my life when I was overthinking, when I was getting upset about things that I could not control, and to this day cannot control, I have zero control over? This guy is telling me, hey, relax. Relax. Good times will come, bad times will come, and they'll both go all the same, and life. Where were you? Somewhere in the deep, dark recesses of my mind after anxiety and depression and all these other things came to light. I guess I just kind of lost myself.
Throne. And all sorts of disgusting, awful, atrocious things happen that you will regret later on, in a jail cell, in a hospital bed, or all alone in a dinky, dusty, smelly-ass apartment with no one around you. You will regret it. Try not to get too frustrated. That's another thing I'm learning and trying to implement it in my daily life. You see a problem, you problem solve,
Oops.
you rationally, logically, critically think about it. And if you can't figure it out, if it's something that's going to stay there, you may...
I'm still hung up on that. Finding yourself alone in an apartment. Wow, wow, it's just on the nose to present day issues. Wow.
may as well learn to live with, like financial situations. I'm not in the best financial situation right now, but I can pay bills and all that good stuff. But in an economy like this, it's pretty apparent that they're not going to go away overnight. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody. That's unless they're very rich, part of that 1% or whatever that keeps getting thrown around. That's something you're not gonna, it's not gonna go away. That is something that I think is the exception, because hell, money pretty much rules everything. And if you can't pay for shit on a very basic level, that kind of controls your life and controls your happiness. But you can still be complacent if you adjust your lifestyle accordingly. But there are...
I had so much more of a rosy outlook on life before I started going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of politics, world issues. I thought I was informed about politics and economics and stuff like that when I was around this age, but as I got older, started reading more, started witnessing more about how the world actually works and how it all comes back to money and greed and capitalism. Before all of that, it seemed like I was a much more optimistic person. Despite all of the bile and vitriol I was spewing on my channel at this time, making like 5 videos per week, always complaining about something, but also trying to find the good in things too.
For other trivial things, like, maybe your car breaks down or something, oh, I got to take public transportation. Ah, fuck, get over it. Things of that nature. If I really been blubbering for 12 minutes, maybe I won't remember tomorrow to upload this. I'll be
Keep going.
tired from work
Keep
and all
keep
that.
blubbering, please.
But yeah, 21. Only son. Buddy served us well. Bred to kill, not to care. Do just as we say. Finished here, greeting death. I'm
Had to get
quoting
that in there.
Metallica lyrics. But yeah, 21. It's another year. I had my fun. Now it's time to get back to the daily grind of being a human being on this planet that we call Earth. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to be some kind of motivational speaker. I'm speaking from the hip here.
That was me speaking from the hip.
Slowly learning as I go along.
Oh my.
As we all are. Life is a big learning experience. If you don't learn from the mistakes you make, then you're fucked. Because you'll keep making the same stupid mistakes, and then another snowball effect will happen. Isn't that great? Yeah. Learn from history, learn from your mistakes. Try to be at least complacent. Happiness will come eventually if you try hard enough. Have a good day, folks.
Drunken 21-year-old me was looking out for me better than very, very sober 33-year-old me. Had the right ideas, was on the right track. And I'm not even going to sit here and say, and now look at me now. What I am going to say is listening to that makes me more hopeful that it's still possible to get on that right track and to stay on that right track. I am astounded, even though I've already watched this once before, because I did try to record and microphone issues, but still, I'm still astounded that I had all of this optimism and I had all like this just sort of practical way of looking at things. And I just, over a certain amount of time, all those practicalities went out the window, and it's just worry, 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 anxiety and fear. And, like so much changed between 21 and 23, 24. I was going to concerts like almost every week. I was going out and doing things. I was going out and seeing things. I was experiencing the world. Well, within the United States. I didn't travel, unfortunately, all that much. And then mid-20s came, and all that anxiety and just all of the things that happened in my childhood that I just repressed and just let fester in the back of my mind unconsciously until just head-on collision. Wow. I could take a page from the book of 21-year-old me, even though 21-year-old me didn't seem to practice what he preached for very long. Whether that's because my anxiety problems started up, whether that's because I got complacent in the wrong ways. It's really something. At least I think it's really something. I don't think any of the advice that was given or whatever I called that, I don't think it was revolutionary. I'm not saying that I was being, wise or sage or anything, but if I can take something out of that 12 years later, my 33-year-old self, it's something. It's definitely something. Wow. And I hope it was something for you too. Maybe. If you're expecting this to be one of those cringe fests where I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I said that, and then I'm sorry if you're disappointed, but hopefully you were entertained at the very least. Have a good day, folks.